Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be: is she nice, flexible, and easygoing, or an angry, rude boss girl? Well, this particular email is from a viewer. He says he's read 3% Man 20 times, and he says he does well with attracting women, but about the 90-day mark, he starts to have a little bit of trouble. And so he recently broke things off with an angry, entitled, rude, disrespectful boss girl, Karen, who happens to lean left. But he said it doesn't bother him. But you can tell she is extremely difficult to be with. She's argumentative, she's angry, and she feels like if she's in a bad mood or he said something that upsets her, she can be rude and mean and nasty. She calls them names. And so I'll go through some of those, some of the nasty things that she's obviously said to him. But as we get started here, I'm just going to scroll down to her email. So it's just, something that's important. First and foremost, you got to share similar goals, similar values. And in this particular case, their values clearly are in conflict. And again, when I get to that point, I'll read her some of her comments and the things that she says. She's just mean and nasty and not a nice person, and she feels entitled to be that way. I say this all the time. You want a girl that's nice to you, who's easygoing, easy to get along with, not somebody that treats you this way. So it should be obvious, because I say it all the fucking time. Easygoing, easy to get along with, and somebody who's nice to you. And this girl is the opposite of that. You can't make good wine from bad grapes, and so you got to vet properly. You can't just ignore all these things and then wonder why you're having problems down the road when she becomes hell on wheels, basically. So he says, hey, coach, and the other thing to consider is this woman is obviously inner masculine because she has her own business, and it's just a lot of things that are going on. It's like you can't be with somebody that's going to be difficult like this all the time. And if she doesn't respect your boundaries and she keeps abusing you, well, you either put up with it or you move on if they won't respect the boundaries. Because it's one thing to set the boundaries, but you got to enforce them. So he says, hey, coach, I read your book at least 20 times and I regularly watch your supplemental material. I'm grateful for everything you do. I have zero problem attracting the women I want and frequently either get approached by or have successful approaches with women. My problem comes once things hit the 90-day mark. Well, another thing I say often is people can hide who they are for about the first 90 days of a relationship. And so, like in this case, this woman has clearly got comfortable after about 90 days. And so now you're seeing the way she really is. He says testing happens at that time and then a breakup comes after. For example, the last woman I dated is someone I met organically and really hit it off with. Well, remember, we tend to be on our best behavior when we first meet somebody because we want them to like us. But once we're down the road, again, after about 90 days, then who they really are kind of comes out. She was a successful business owner, was very attractive, and initially made things effortless. She was a staunch liberal, but this was fine for me as I'm socially liberal and physically conservative. Well, if she tends to lean far left and is a woke idiot, you're going to have friction. I basically want gay married couples to be able to defend their marijuana plants with guns. Life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. And by the way, the founding fathers all had hemp, which is a derivative of the plant. And I think a lot of them like to torch it up back in the day. Maybe that's where some of the great ideas came from because they were high as fuck, potentially. Maybe not. But there is evidence. I saw an article a while back about Michelangelo, and they found his pipe, and they tested it. It was like, oh, there's marijuana residue in there. I was like, maybe that's why some of the paintings, like the Sistine Chapel, was so amazing, because maybe he was baked out of his mind. It's possible. It's interesting to wonder. However, I hate talking politics, and she loved it. She hated Trump and Elon, Well, she loved Elon until he voted for Trump, and then, of course, he's the devil, because that's what the TV told him to believe. And they do whatever the TV says. And regularly wanted to discuss it. I would engage, but one day at the 2-month mark, I didn't want to talk politics and asked if we could talk about something more positive, as I had just added to my credentials through additional state licensing, and she had obtained a new client for her business. Yeah, well, you're kind of, now you're 2 months in and she's starting to get comfortable, especially if she thinks you're a little soft and squishy and she's got you. Then the real Karen, the real woke Karen is going to come out. She said she wanted to talk politics and would rather just get off the phone. Oh, you don't want to talk politics with me? I guess I'm going to go then. I said I understood and told her to have a good night, but woke up to a text saying we weren't compatible and she was ending things. Should have been like, woo, thank God. I told her to let me know if she changed her mind, and she rescinded 2 hours later. So she was trying to intimidate you through the threat of a breakup. And statistically, when you're dating somebody that constantly threatens to break up with you or breaks up with you to get you to modify your behavior, it doesn't work out anyways. Because in the long run, you eventually get to the point where you're just like, fuck this bitch, and you move on. You say, the hell with this. The juice is not worth the squeeze. So that's what it looks like was going on there. She's like, oh, I'll just break up with him and he'll come crawling back. Because probably, the beta males that she normally dates always do. Fast forward another month, she wanted to argue about a play we had just seen. It was becoming rude and interruptive. I told her that we weren't going to agree on the topic and I didn't think it was a good idea to continue the argument. Once we got back to my place, she left and sent me a series of angry texts 5 minutes later that ended in calling me an asshole and saying, fuck you. I told her this wasn't a respectful way to speak to me, correct? And if she couldn't be respectful, to please only text me again and let me know she was home safe. So, let's read this little lovely text exchange from the woke Karen who hates Elon and Donald J. Trump, America's favorite president, because her TV told her to. Woke retard. Is this what happens when you date woke retards, my man? She says, this is all in text, of course, but I'll do my girl voice because it's a little more fun that way. I feel like you interrupted me several times and like you were being a hypocrite. So I feel like is something that people on the left are. I feel like they're always up in their feelings. Has nothing to do with facts or reality. It's all, or data. It's feelings. So this is how she's feeling. So remember, if we take into account no one will ever do or say anything to you that isn't a direct reflection of how they feel about themselves in a moment, well, that's pretty clear she's projecting. As soon as I tried to explain a person's credentials, you immediately interrupted me and said that person was wrong. And then, when I tried to argue that person could be right, you interrupted me yet again. Probably because she was being stupid. And he said he didn't want to discuss this. And it pisses me off that you act like I'm the bad guy and all of that and just walk out. And then her next text is, respectfully, fuck you. Fuck you for ignoring me too. So he hasn't replied back in 3 whole minutes. And so he replies to the, respectfully, fuck you. And so his response to that is, everything else you said in those texts was respectful and appropriate, except this. This is disrespectful and inappropriate way to speak to me. I'm pissed off at the way you treat me when you act like I did something wrong that you did. I'm tired of you acting like I am a bitch that cut you off all the time when you do the same shit. And so his response to, fuck you for ignoring me too, he says again, completely uncalled for and disrespectful. You had literally texted me 3 minutes ago. So her go-to response is to basically behave exactly the way the retards, the woke retards on MSNBC and in CNN and all the rest of the networks behave on TV. That was something that was unusual. I never saw people on TV hyperventilating and freaking out like they started to in 2015 and 2016. And all those same people, especially like The View, when you see like Donald Trump going on The View the year before he ran, they're like, oh, we love you, Donald. We think it would be great if you run. As soon as he wins the nomination, he's Hitler. He's literally Hitler. He's fascist. Oh, God. It's just nutty. Nutty behavior because they normalize it on TV, and people that look at TV and they see it as an authority, oh, well, this is the way we're supposed to interact with people we disagree with now. And it's never been the same since. And so she continues, and yet after I sent it, you immediately responded. He says, I barely had time to see you texted me and respond in the 3 minutes. I haven't cursed at you once, not in this disagreement, not ever. I ask the same from you. When you're acting like an asshole, I'm going to call you out on it, and I'm probably not going to be respectful about it because you were not acting respectful in your mannerism. So in other words, her mentality is I'm entitled to act this way because it's your fault. Again, you see people on TV that you respect and you look up to and you admire, and they're in a position of authority. And so she behaves the same way that people on TV do. Literally, like, becomes brainwashed. Because this did not used to be the way that people talked. But once the people on TV started freaking out, everybody that identifies and believes with them and aligns with them, they behave the same way. I mean, you look at all the Teslas getting keyed. I mean, it's like, I go on Twitter and it's just one video after another of some woke retard going up and angrily sketching swastikas and keying people's paint on their Teslas. And a lot of those people be fellow liberals. And yet they're fucking up their car because they're retards. I hope they prosecute whoever's funding all this because it's pretty clear people are funding it and those are RICO violations. You cannot do that. And they nail their fucking nuts to the wall who's ever doing it. And outside the Supreme Court building, it says above on the roof, it says equal justice under law. And this shit has been going on for many, many, many years. And there needs to be a price to pay for this shit. And even though my disrespect comes in the form of cursing, it is no less hurtful than how you act. So in other words, she's justifying this behavior. She's trying to say, oh, it's okay. He says, please stop texting me this evening, aside from letting me know when you're home safe. When we can speak to each other respectfully, let's speak then. You'll just blow it under the rug, never to be seen again. You saying I can't curse when I'm pissed off pisses me off. I don't get pissed off at you often, and I think that you should allow me the grace to be pissed and be pissed in the way that I feel like I'm heard, and I'll leave it at that if you don't text me back. Just let me know when you're home safe, please. I will. I made it home safe. I love you. Good night. That's exhausting. So, back to the email. He says, I told her this wasn't a respectful way to speak to me, and if she couldn't be respectful, to please only text me again to let me know she was home safe. The next day, she said that she felt that I wasn't hearing her, which I know is a key thing to take into account, and that I had made her use the language she had used. So you're the man, you're the one with the penis. If she wants to be with you, you told her how she needs to treat you. She violated that, so you removed yourself from the conversations. And if she won't stop, then you'll just remove yourself from the relationship. Because that's part of enforcing the healthy boundary. Because if you let her get away with it, then she's going to think you're a bitch, and it's going to get 10 times worse. Because no one will ever do or say anything to you that you don't invite them to do. So you have to nip this shit in the bud. And when your politics are this far apart, and she behaves like the retards that she sees on TV, well, you can point out that behavior and let her know that it needs to stop, and if it doesn't, you're not going to date her anymore. The strongest negotiating position is being able to walk away and mean it. I told her I was willing to discuss where we could have done better, but that cursing and name-calling were deal breakers for me. Good for you, dude. If we couldn't speak respectfully and lovingly, we couldn't find a resolution. She said she speaks to, here's the key. This is her mindset. And this is the way she's been taught to act and has gotten away with it her whole life. And it's only been exacerbated when she saw the retards on TV behaving this way. So now she thinks this is just normal and okay, instead of abusive and unkind and unloving. She said she speaks to everyone like that, her teenage children, her clients, her employees, etc. If you're telling your clients to fuck off like that, they're not going to be your clients for very long. And they spoke to her that way. I was going to make her angry, or if I was going to make her angry, she would express herself in the way she felt most hurt. In other words, she feels entitled to lose her shit, whether it's on the phone or in text or in public. That just cannot be allowed to continue. There are rules for human conduct, and if she wants to act like a lunatic, she can go date a lunatic, and then they can yell at each other. So I returned the things she had at my house and broke things off, saying that we couldn't be together if disrespectful exchanges were to be expected. I recognize this was a test, but I seem to encounter this quite a bit. Well, stop dating woke Karens. I hold my ground and admit I can be stubborn, but I refuse to be spoken to that way. Well, exactly. That's the way it should be. I don't put up with that shit. I won't stick around if a woman is going to be abusive and rude and nasty. I want easygoing, easy to get along with. If you guys saw any of the videos with Katie, it's like she's been sweet as pie for over 20 years. Never ever once raised her voice at me. Ever. And so when you're used to being with people that treat you that way, all my close friends are like that. My family, we talk to each other respectfully, even though it wasn't a case when I was younger. It's like everybody in my life, this is the way we talk to each other. And the ones that don't, they don't get to be a part of my life anymore. It's as simple as that. It's a bare minimum level of respect. I'm not going to be abused. I'm not going to be condescended to. I'm not going to be snapped at. I'm just not going to put up with it. And you shouldn't either. Because if you allow it, then they'll keep doing it and the abuse gets worse. If they want to live that way, that's fine. They can live that way, but they can go spend time with other people that yell and scream at each other. Because that's not how I live my life. Remember all the mugs? Drama Free Zone? Maybe you should go buy some of those at teespring.com, the Coach Corey Wayne store, to remind yourself. This woman is causing drama. She's picking a fight. She's picking an argument because she knows you have different beliefs and views. And she's doing it to get a rise out of you, to see if she can cause you to get upset. And here, you gave her a walking papers. He says, what am I missing? Don't date woke Karens whose values are in conflict with your own. Pretty simple. This is how she is. She does this to everybody, as she says. So, well, she's not going to tell you that on the first date or the first couple times you hook up, because she wants to wait, and she knows people don't like it. But once she's comfortable with you, she thinks, oh, now I can be myself. I can be who I really am. And he'll just have to put up with it because I got the pussy. Nope. You'll get replaced, sweetheart. Should I have tried to work through her concerns in the midst of her disrespect, or did I make the right call? Well, again, this is how she operates, how she talks to her kids. You've only known her for a short period of time, so you're not going to walk into her life and change her behavior. You set the healthy boundaries, and she continued to violate them. Obviously, this happened on more than one occasion, and she just feels entitled to act this way. And if you stay with her, then all that does is validate that she can get away with it, and then the abuse will continue. I may be attracting the wrong kind of woman, but I don't want to completely exonerate myself from my responsibility here. Thanks, as always, for your work. Well, again, if she's not willing to talk to you in a loving, respectful way, she wants to yell at you to fuck off and things of that nature, I'm not going to put up with that. And you shouldn't either. And so you shouldn't feel bad. So you did the right thing, man. Because you're not going to fix her. She feels entitled. I assume maybe you're in California or something like that. She's a woke Karen. She's a boss girl. She's in her masculine energy. She talks this way to everybody. That's who she is. And so the only thing that changes a woman's perception like this is to lose a good dude like you. So she may come back, she may apologize, but this is an issue of self-control. And she clearly doesn't want to exercise self-control because this is the kind of relationship she has with everybody in her life, everybody in her business, and this is how the retards on TV act. So to her, it's normalized behavior. And so if she doesn't want to change and she doesn't want to treat you your minimum standards, then she gets the gift of missing you permanently. So if I were you, if you're on a date and you find out her political beliefs are completely opposed to yours, and she believes all the stuff that's on TV that Elon Musk and Donald Trump are fascists and Nazis now, when just 8 months ago everybody on the left thought Elon Musk was the greatest thing since sliced bread, but as soon as he endorsed Donald Trump, then he became Hitler. And it's absolutely absurd. I saw a protest was in New York, and all these people are paid to be there. They're paid to go to this Tesla dealership with their pre-printed fucking signs, and they're laying down in the driveway to prevent any of the customers from going in and getting their work done in their car. And of course, the NYPD, what are they doing? They ain't doing shit. They're just letting it happen because they're a bunch of fucking cucks as well. So it's pretty pathetic. If you're going to let people destroy or shut down somebody's business and just enable that behavior, that's on law enforcement, but that's a reflection of Mayor Adams and the rest of the people that run New York. They mostly lean left, so they all kind of view it as that's the way it should be. So that's unfortunate, but hopefully these people get prosecuted, and who's ever funding it, it's two different attorneys and that started these groups. So I hope they fucking throw their asses in jail and throw away the fucking key, because these people are parasites. And what they're doing are RICO violations, and you cannot do this in America. And until people start getting prosecuted and put in jail for this shit, it's just going to continue. Because under the Democratic administrations, there were no consequences. There has to be equal justice under law. So if you got a question or challenge and you want to get my help, go to understandingrelationships.com, click the products tab at the top of your screen on any page on my website, and book a coaching session with yours truly. If you haven't already signed up for our paying members-only content, in the video description of this video, there are links you can join on YouTube, or you can join on Spotify, or ideally our website, understandingrelationships.com. Just click the plans tab when you get there. And on the website, you can do a 7-day free trial and check out all the content you get for your membership as a premium member. And if you choose an annual plan, you get a 25% discount for paying the whole year's premium up front at the end of the 7-day free trial. So go to understandingrelationships.com, click the plans tab, sign up for a 7-day free trial for our premium members only content. Until next time, I will talk to you soon.